Hi guys, thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be a really fun one and exciting one for me as well. I really enjoyed filming this one, so I hope you guys enjoy it too and get some inspiration from it, even if you don't have the palette that I'm going to be showing you in these looks. I'm sure you might have something similar you can play with that you might be able to create the vibes of, but today's video is a 3 looks 1 palette with the Suva Beauty Hyper Color palette. So Suva Beauty are an indie brand. They brought out this palette which is a little bit unique, a little bit special. I've done a first impressions on it and kind of labelled that one a bit of a fail, but not because of the quality of the palette. It's more so that I couldn't get the UV glow shades to show up UV glow, not with the lighting I've got anyway. But you've got 4 UV glow shades and then you've got 4 traditional mattes and 4 shimmery topper shades in the palette. And spoiler alert, I had a blast with this palette, absolutely loved it. And it's got some unique qualities about it, so I'll talk about that at the end. But I've done 3 looks with it, all very different techniques, different styles. They're not for the faint-hearted though, they are bright and colourful as the palette suggests anyway. So hope you're going to enjoy watching. Let's just jump straight into the 3 looks. Okay, look number 1 then. I'm going to be using the NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk as a base. I really want to make these eyeshadows pop today because I want to do a halo eye, but kind of with a sunny sort of sunset vibe to it. Okay, for this look, I really want to use the red shade, so Sweet and Sour, and also Lollipop, and then Lemon Drop. So I'm probably going to be sticking mainly to those 3 shades for this look. And I'm going to make it quite simple, just a spotlight eye with a bit of shine and sparkle. So we're going to start off building up in the outer and inner corners using Sweet and Sour. Going in with the Morphe 321, it's got quite a dome sort of top to the brush, so I think that will really help to achieve the shape that I'm looking for with this one. So I'm just going to take that, as I say, in the inner and outer corners. It's a real chilly, fiery red, really pretty colour. First time I've used this one. Got a little bit of fallout there, but luckily it's red, so it doesn't look too bad. These are pretty powdery shadows, so I'm going to make sure to tap off my brush. But I really wanted the pigment to be strong, and I think it definitely is. So I'm starting off just in packing motions really, not blending this out at all. As I say, I really want this red to be as intense as I can get it. And I'm packing it over that white base that I've not set. So we're using this shadow to set the primer. Now I'm tapping off my brush, it's not giving me quite so much fallout. But there is considerable kick up in the pan. It's made quite a mess of the pan actually. So if that bothers you, you won't like it, but it's such a beautiful red. It's a true red, isn't it? Proper, as I say, chilly red, tomatoey red. Not a pinky red, so I'm impressed with that, because sometimes reds look super red in the pan, and then when you get them on the eyes they turn pink, but this is not the case with this one. So I'm just going to do the same as I've done on the outer corner, just building up that colour in the inner part of my eye. I'm trying to not let it go onto my lower lash line there in that corner, but we'll see how that goes. I'm not going to connect the middle, certainly not with this shade anyway, so I just want to pack this down and keep it quite strong. Leave an open top so we've got more space for the halo in the centre. I don't know how many of you have got this palette, you'll have to let me know in the comments down below, but if you don't, any red shadow that's a true red would help you achieve this kind of look. You probably have one in your collection. I've got a number in mind that are good. They're not probably quite as chilly tomato red as this, but The Blood Sugar palette by Jeffree Star has a good red. Love Plus by Sugar Pills, good. If you've got the Tropical Wonders by Certify, there's a really good red in there. So I'm sure you've all got a red that you can use. That would give you the same effect if you don't have this palette. Right, so now I'm not going to add any additional product, but I'm going to use the same brush I've been using and start to just blend a little around the edges. But I want to keep this as a rounded shape, which I don't do all that often, so it's quite fun for me to do something different now and again. I do like my wing shapes if you've been here before, but I'm trying to practice getting a nice rounded blended shape. So I don't want to lose the pigment too much, I'm just trying to make sure I only stick to the edges where I'm blending. We can always top up the intensity of that pigment later though. I don't think we've quite got it the same shape on both eyes, so I need to go slightly higher on this eye. And it in slightly more. I think that's given us a better symmetry there. I'm going to swap to another brush just to help with the blending. And then just pack a bit more of that colour on just to make sure that we've not lost the intensity, but we haven't really. I think it's stayed pretty impressive, pretty strong. I've used this palette once before. I'll link the video for that so you can see. I used the neon ultraviolet shades, the UV glow shades. Couldn't get them to show UV with the lighting that I've got, so I can't comment whether they were UV. But you do have to use a different technique and like a fluffier brush to get them to apply. But in this one I just wanted to just use the mattes and see how they perform, and quite impressed so far. So for the centre part of my lids I'm going in with Lollipop and a JS6 brush. I'm just literally going to pack that in the centre. And again, wow, that is a pigmented yellow and a beautiful yellow. Even if you didn't want to buy this palette because you're not going to a festival, and none of us are going anywhere anyway, but say it put you off because of having the UV glow shades, then I think you wouldn't be sad about buying it even if you never used the UV glow, because these mattes are stunning. Look at that yellow. Right, so now I want to get a little bit of a blend between the two, so I'm just dragging that backwards and forwards just a little. Working on that blend, and I'll probably take me some time to get there, but if we've not got a perfect blend between the two, it's not going to matter because we're going to use the topper, and that's going to some degree hide it, because ideally you would go in with a mid shade like a orange in between, but we don't have one, so not if we're sticking to this palette. I'm just smushing backwards and forwards between the red and the yellow. Just going to add a bit more of the red. It's just going to be a case of going backwards and forwards to perfect it till I've got it looking as I want it to look, really. I'll switch to a packing brush just to pack a bit more of that yellow in the centre. And now I'm going to close the top in just slightly with that yellow, just to connect everything up. But I'm doing that quite high, sort of a bit more towards my brow. I don't want to close it in the crease. I need plenty of space there. taking a small blending brush. This is the Morphe M506. Just taking some of that yellow above the red, just on the outer corner there. Now, I learnt from when I used these before, the best way to apply these is to stroke them on with your finger. So that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going in with Lemon Drop, and I'm just literally placing that over the centre there, so that it covers the yellow. And I'm going right up into my crease as well. I want it to cover the yellow and look all sparkly, but also to cover a bit of the red as well, so it sort of blends everything together. Beautiful, beautiful sparkle in that. And doing it this way, I'm not getting any fallout either. I don't really like using my fingers for shadows, but for these, I think it's the only way to really get them to work. I tried with glitter glue, I tried spraying them, and they just all fell back down on my face. With your finger, for some reason, they just work really, really well. I'm going to use a yellow in my waterline. This is Happy Mood by Linda Hallberg. And then I'm just going to run the red, the Sweet and Sour shade, under my lower lash line. I'm using that brush, the M506 that we used with the yellow shade on the outer part here. I want it to be fairly grungy on that lower lash line and to meet up with that rounded shape that we've created. In fact, I was so worried about getting the red on my lower lash line, but I'm connecting it up there anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So in the corner highlight, I'm going to go in with Solar Sailor from Kaleidos Makeup. I could have used the shade that we've used in the centre of my eye, but I don't want something as glittery as that right next to my eye, so I thought this would still give me the vibe that I'm looking for. But if you're not too worried about glitter and sparkle right next to your eyes, then the shade we used in the middle would work equally well. So kind of feathering that down a little bit as well onto my sort of tear duct area there. Okay, I'm going to hop off camera for liner, mascara and a lip, and I'll be right back with you to show you look number one. Okay guys, so here's look number one complete. And for lips today, I've completely lined my lips all over with 714 by Urban Decay. Just the pencil. I've got the liquid lip and the bullet lip of that, but I think it works better if you're going to do what I did next, just using the pencil, because I've topped it with a gloss, which is Wet Peach by Jeffree Star, and just tap that over the top to give it like that vinyl kind of look. And I've found, particularly if you're my kind of age, and I know some of you are, if you use a liquid lipstick or a bullet lipstick and then try and top it with a gloss, you'll get a lot of bleeding coming out. But if you do it this way, I've found it doesn't move around nearly so much, but you can still get that ultra glossy lip with lots of colour. So I think it works really, really well. I love the combination of the red lips and red eyes. I know it's not for everybody, it's a very strong look, but you could play this down with just a nude lip and that would look nice. So, you know, if you wanted to just make the eyes the focus of the look, then you could definitely do that. But I just love how beautiful and sunny and happy a look it is. I'm really, really happy with this one, and it's been quite a work in progress for me to be able to create halo eyes. I always find them quite difficult to do. I think leaving it open at the top to give you that illusion of more eye space definitely was a game changer for me. I used to watch other people connecting it at the crease and then never really had the wow factor that I was looking for. So definitely, if you haven't got so much lid space, try leaving it open and try putting a little bit of shimmer in the centre as well. It definitely opens the eye up. But enjoy creating this one. Let's move on to look number two. Okay, so for look number two, I want to use Euphoria as kind of the main focus of the look. Also want to use some of the UV glow shades. I'm going to use the blue and the pink, Cloud 9 and Hallucinate, and then of course I'm going to use one of the toppers as well. So that's kind of my thoughts for the colour story. To begin the look, I'm going to go in with Hallucinate. I've already primed my eyes with the MAC Painterly Paint Pot, not set it. I'm using a fluffy brush because that's the way to get these UV colours to work. And if you haven't seen my video where I covered the UV shadows, which was my first impression of this palette, then I strongly suggest that you do, because that's where I talk about this. But the owner of the brand has put a few videos on Instagram, like mini tutorial videos talking about this. But if you want to get any sort of pigmentation from the UV glow shades, you need to use a fluffy brush. They don't swatch, they look very lackluster if you try to swatch them. But if you use a scratchy sort of natural hair brush like this one, which is the Morphe 433, then you'll get pretty good payoff like I'm getting here. So I'm just building this in my crease, mainly in the outer portion of my crease. I am coming in a little bit, but pretty much keeping it on this outer kind of edge of my crease. So that's where I want the focus of that colour to be. And then just bringing some of the colour through to the front portion of my crease when I've got less product on the brush. But that's building up super nicely. As I say, I've not been able to test out the UV glow. I don't have the right equipment to be able to see it, but I think this one would show up really nicely because we've got quite a lot of focus on the UV glow in the outer sort of part of the eye there. So if you were looking for something that was going to show up UV, I think this look would do so. Now I'm going to go into Cloud 9 and build for a bit of intensity in my outer V and the outer part of my crease. So I'm just building that just in the outer corner really. This is where it gets a little bit tricky because you've got to use a scratchy sort of brush. You can't use a packing brush really to get these to work. So trying to build any sort of intensity in that outer corner is going to take a little bit of work, because I can't really pack the colour on, but we will get there, I'm sure. So I'm just blending that into the crease just to give us a seamless blend, which they do blend pretty well. So but just really building up that colour in the outer corner. The great thing about these UV shades is they don't have any fallouts. Although they're quite a deep colour, you haven't really got to worry about any fallout. I don't know what sort of magic is in this formula, but it really, really works in terms of like not having any fallout. I'm just going to spend a bit of time just really making sure I've got the colour intensity that I want. That's looking quite pretty in the outer corners, I think, and a bit better than the first time I used this palette. I'm sort of getting more used to how to use these UV glow shades. Now I'm going to go in with Euphoria and completely ignoring any sort of colour theory whatsoever. We're going to use that on the inner portion of my lid space there. But my plan here, although these colours are not going to blend into each other particularly well, is that we're going to hide that with the toppers that we're going to put over the top. So I'm pretty much just packing that shadow on just to give me a green base really. That's a beautiful green shadow. Beautiful, beautiful colour. And that's laying down quite nicely, but I'm taking my time to build that up so that I don't get too much fallout from that green. Now I'm going in with a Morphe M506 and a bit more of that green product and just blending just slightly into the crease there. Just to bring everything together. And actually, although it's muddying up slightly, it's not looking as bad as I kind of expected it might do. just wanted to try out this colour combination of this green with the pink. I just thought it would look really, really pretty. And sometimes the downside of that, unless you do a cut crease, is that you are going to have a little bit of muddiness, but I don't think it's looking too bad. Just spending a bit of time building up that colour. And also because this is a smaller brush, I'm just going to get into all of the little corners where I couldn't quite get that shadow applied with that other brush. But I used a packing brush to try and get as much green intensity as I could. So now I'm just bringing that up into my crease just slightly really. I don't want to go too far up. And then we don't need to worry too much about the blue blending with the green because, as I say, we are going to be putting a topper there which will hide a lot of the blending anyway. I'm just going to go a little bit more into Cloud 9, the blue shade, and just make sure we've got that blend as good as we can get it with that green, but because one of them is the UV shade and the other one is just the normal matte, I think I might struggle a little bit to get that blend, but as I say, the toppers will hide a lot of that. I'm going to go with Cool Mood by Linda Hallberg in my waterline just to echo some of that blue. And on the front part of my waterline I'm going in with Calm Mood, the green. Also taken that a little bit onto my lower lash line, it will just make it a little bit more pigmented there. On the front part I'm going to use Euphoria, and I'm just using a flat definer brush because I want to keep quite close to my lower lash line at the front of my eye there. And then I am going to try and blend Cloud 9 with a blending brush on my lower lash line and see what happens there. And that's not working too badly at all actually. I didn't expect to get the colour payoff because I know these work best with a natural hair brush and this one's synthetic, but I don't think that's working too bad. I'm going to take a clean blending brush. This is the JS6 by Jeffree Star, and just further blend out that lower lash line and where it meets the crease in the corner there. So now to finish off the lids, I'm going to apply Mojito, just using my fingers, which is the green topper, and I'm going to top it over the green but just slightly over the blue as well. Trying to get that right into the corner, which with your fingertips is not so easy. Just going to see if I can apply a little bit of that with a pencil brush and get that to stick, but it does work a lot better when you use your fingertips, but I just wanted to get right into that corner. In my inner corners I'm going to use Laser Glazer highlight from Kaleidos Makeup. Again, you could use the topper, but they're not very easy to control on a brush, and this is practically the same colour as that topper, so just finding it easier to bring it round onto my lower lash line using this product than with the topper. Bringing that down quite a way onto my lower lash line. I think that looks really pretty when it's sort of splaying out from the tear duct there. Just going to go in with a bit more of that Hallucinate shade just to make sure we're not losing that in that front portion there. Okay, so that's the look to this point. Just going to hop off camera for the finishing touches and I'll be back to show you look number 2. Okay guys, here's the finished look for look number 2. I finished the look with a gloss. I thought there's quite a lot going on in the eyes, so I wouldn't do a strong lip or just do gloss. So this is the gloss by Jeffree Star in the shade Lord Star, which is the only one I've got from the Bloodlust collection, but I think it matches the vibes that I was looking for perfectly. So what do you think to look number 2? I really like the combination of the pink, purple and green together. I think that really worked, and I've tried to pull out some of the colours from my shirt, so I'm feeling really pretty in this one. Let's move on to look number 3. Okay, so for look number 3, I'm going to be using Backlight and LSD in this look. I think I'm going to use After Hours on my lower lash line because I've not used that in this video yet. And I'm going to use Decay, the pink topper. So I'm going to have a very candy pink, pretty sparkly look out of this one with a touch of aqua on the lower lash line. So I'm going to go with the NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk. Because these are very pale shades that I'm going to use, I think they'll benefit from having a white base to really make them pop. I'm only pretty much taking that over my lid and just into my crease. I don't want that all the way up to my brows because I don't want a stark white brow there. Just sharpen this pencil and it's making it a bit more tricky to use. And fun fact, but I think a lot of people thought you couldn't sharpen these pencils. You can sharpen them. I think there's so many of these NYX Jumbo pencils ended up in the bin. I spent ages trying to work out how you're supposed to twist them up or what you're supposed to do. Just a normal jumbo sharpener will sharpen them just fine. I want a liberal amount of backlight, so pretty much all over my lid space first. Again, this is a UV glow shade, so make sure that we use a fluffy brush to apply that, which will give a lot more pigmentation when we come to using the LSD shade. That's not completely opaque, even though I'm going in quite heavy-handed with that white, but that's why I thought a white base would really help. So the brush I've used for the white was the 573 from Morphe. Going in with the 433 now because it is a little bit more pinched, a little bit more pointy, but still fluffy, so that we can get a bit of control in the crease. So going in with LSD. It's such a pretty looking candy pink colour. So I'm going to focus that on the outer part of my crease and in my outer V. I am going to wing it out just slightly. Such a pretty candy pink, beautiful. The Hallucinate shade, the purple, is a lot more purple pink than this. This one's real candy pink, it's so pretty. Again, no fallout from these shades, no kick up whatsoever. It looks like you've not even dipped your brush into the pan. Very, very strange. Some kind of magic going on with these shades. I've got the colour nice and strong on that eye, that's kind of what I want, so I'm going to build up and pack on a little bit more on this side. In fact, they pack on a lot better than I expected them to. You can pack them on to a degree. Now I've got a bit less product on the brush, I'm just going to bring that forward just a little bit in the crease. Clean fluffy brush, no additional product, just to get a little bit of a fade on the top line there. They do blend out really nicely, and that's got no primer there really. Love the colour of that, I think that's really, really pretty. Now I'm going to go in with Decay just on my finger all over the lid space. Just going to run a bit of that LSD shade, the pink shade, through my crease just to sharpen things up a little bit in the crease line there. Just wanted to keep the shimmer just to my lids for this look. Now I'm going to go in with this product. It's Scrunchy by Suva, one of the hydroliners. Just put a bit of water in the cap. I'm going to use the E05 eyeliner from Sigma. It's got a nice sharp point. I don't have the Suva brush, so hopefully this will work. So onto the lower lash line, I'm going to put Heartless by Urban Decay in my waterline, and then I'm going to use Deep End on my lower lash line and then smudge it out with After Hours, the teal shade in the palette. And as I say, going in with After Hours, got a Morphe E36, nice precise but fluffy brush to use on the lower lash line. So I'm keeping that tucked quite close to my lower lash line, connecting it up with the wing in the corner. So that's the look to this point. It's looking super crazy. I think it'll look a lot more grounded when I've got mascara on and a lip to kind of bring everything to life. So I'm just going to hop off camera for the finishing touches and I'll be right back with you to show you look number 3. Okay guys, so here's the finished look. So for lips today, made a little concoction of my own. So we've got Watermelon Soda by Jeffree Star, one of his Velour liquid lips. That was a little bit orange in tone, so to bring a bit of pink and a bit of sparkle and a bit of fun to the look, because let's face it, this isn't your everyday wearable look anyway, so let's just go for it. I've put Anastasia's Blizzard over the top, which was one of their mini holiday lipsticks of 2018, but I think you can still get it, although it was limited edition. Their limited edition lipstick sets seem to stay around for quite some time. I'm sure you can still get it on Beauty Bay. So yeah, that's the finished look for look number 3. Okay guys, so that's the 3 looks. What did you think? What was your favourite? I'd love to know. I think I love doing this one because I'd never used the hydroliners and oh, I'm obsessed. I'm going to need to buy some more of those. I want the black one and the white one because they're so easy to use. I really thought they'd be difficult. And I've had that scrunchy shade for probably a year. Just didn't think I had the skill level to do it because I thought it'd be difficult, and it's as easy as a liquid liner, and I think the product would last forever. Super bright and fun, so I'm going to be using that way more in looks, but it's not a kind of review of the hydroliners really, but I just thought I'd throw that in there. So onto the palette then. So what did I think of that? Well, I gave you a few hints as I was going along as to what I was thinking, but let's just summarise a couple of the negatives because there are a couple, and then I'll move on to the things that I like about the palette as well. So the negatives for me are that the UV glow shades have to be used with a coarse hair brush. You need to use a natural fibre brush really to get the payoff from the shades. If you go in with just a soft kind of synthetic brush, I don't think you'll get enough colour payoff. It needs to be a scratchy kind of brush. I did think that afterwards though, that something like, say, this one from Real Techniques would probably work because that's a little bit more of a coarser kind of brush. So if you're looking for a brush that's not natural hair, then I think that might work just as well, but it needs to be a coarse kind of brush, not a soft brush. You need a scratchy brush to be able to pick up the product and distribute it. The other negative for me, big negative in my eyes, and I just think it's a bit of a shame, but they do work well if you do use them how they say, but it's with these toppers, you've got to use your fingers to apply them. And again, I'll link my first impressions, but if you watch that video, I tried to use them with glitter glue. It became very chunky, difficult to work with. If you try and wet your brush, just nothing really happens, it just flake off. If you try and apply them with a dry brush, you'll just get glitter specks all over your face. But weirdly, if you use them with your fingers, they just sort of melt onto the top of the shadow you've laid down and become super reflective and sparkly, and they last all day. They just don't go anywhere. And I know this because look number 2, I did wear all day and didn't have any glitter fall out on my cheeks, and it looked really, really beautiful. I think they're stunning. They look white in the pan, but they're that sort of multi-duochrominess to them. They're just really, really pretty. And I'm not somebody that likes to wear glitter too close to my eyes, so I did bring in some highlighters, as you saw, to wrap around my tear duct, but actually I don't think there would be a problem. I'm just ultra cautious with things like that, but they're not like chunky glitter by any means. They're quite soft, they're very small particles, so I think you would be absolutely fine, if I'm honest with you, having them quite close to your eyes. And it is meant to be an eye palette, so I'm sure they're fine. The mattes, I thought they were so pigmented, so buttery, so smooth. That red, oh my god, the red, that sweet and sour shade, stunning. It's a true red, not a pinky red. The yellow was one of the brightest yellows I've ever used. I'm a massive fan of Sugar Pill shadows, Buttercup Cake, which is their version of yellow, and Love Plus, which is their version of red, are some of my favourites in my collection, and I would say that these rival those. I don't think I give the green enough focus in a look. I've used it only once, but had no complaints with that. I think the teal shade After Hours is really, really pretty. So I also like the fact that you can layer the UV glow shades with the mattes without any problem, and you can build them on each other, which I thought may be a problem. So there's some great positives in the palette. It's just getting used to how to work with it. As I say, a scratchy brush for the UV shades, your fingers for the toppers, and then you've got the traditional mattes anyway. But this palette, guys, was £29, and you're getting 12 shades in 3 different formulas. Really nice package with a mirror. It's heavy, it's quality. I think it's a bargain for what it is, and I think, all right, it's not for everybody, I get that, but at the moment when we're wanting to experiment with colour, because, you know, I can go on a conference call, no one's going to see me at the moment, so even for work I can wear colours like this. You know, we've got time to experiment. So, you know, if you're looking to buy a palette, and I'm not suggesting that anybody does right now with what's going on in the world, but if you're looking to do so, then I think this is such a fun option, and I would really recommend it, to be honest. So that's my thoughts on it. But as I say, you can absolutely recreate any of the 3 looks with things you have in your collection. I'm sure you've got sparkly toppers. If you're a makeup addict like me, you're going to have some somewhere in other palettes. A lot of you have got singles, I know, that are very highly reflective like that, or even the Kaleidos makeup highlighters would do a very similar job. And all right, you're not going to have that UV glow, but to me that wasn't what I bought it for necessarily. I bought it because it was a gimmick and I wanted to try it out, but I'm never going to probably go anywhere that I can show off that UV side of it. So that wasn't why I bought it. I bought it because it's revolutionary, it's a little bit different. I was curious, just wanted to see how it worked. I wanted to let you guys know how good it was. And also Beauty Bay have stocked Suva Beauty, and for a long time they've had the hydroliners, they've had some highlighters, etc., and liquid lips I think as well, but they've never had an eyeshadow palette. So when this came on their site, I was just so excited because, you know, paying shipping and customs just gets to be a pain, and to get a palette like this, which has got so many different formulas, different textures, and some really bright, vivid spring, summer, kind of festival-y colours, I just think it was just a no-brainer for me. It was just something that my collection didn't have. So don't regret it whatsoever, the purchase, and really hope you enjoyed watching the 3 looks. As I say, drop a comment down below. Let me know which was your favourite. Would you wear any of them? Probably not, but did you enjoy watching? That's the main thing, because that's what I'm trying to do right now, is create content that's a joy to watch, that you're going to enjoy whilst you're in lockdown, that takes your mind off of anything else and just lets you escape a little bit. So hope you're all keeping safe and well, guys. If you're not subscribed to my channel, love to have you along for the ride. But other than that, have a lovely day or night wherever you are and whatever you're doing, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.